Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warship Blitz video. Today's video is going to be something a bit different. It is not a battle replay. This is a top 10 list. The list of the top 10 ships. This is a scientific list, so it's going to be based on statistics, my playing statistics to be precise. And today's top 10 is win rate. So I am going to be looking at ships that I have played over 50 battles in and that are tier 5 and above. I don't think the list is actually different if I include below tier 5 until I get to the 8s and the 9s, but basically because lower tiers, different mechanics start to come in, such as the quality of other players and the number of bots, especially when you get into the lower tiers. So if you play Mikasa, you'll be playing, which is a tier 2 Japanese battleship, you'll end up playing an awful lot of bots. And when you do meet players, well, they're sort of just starting out, to be honest. So yeah, so although it doesn't make much difference to this list, I have screened them out. Anything below 50 battles I've screened out. What I've found is that initially my win rates may be good, but they settle down over time. So without further ado, I will start with number 10 on the list and work my way down to number 1. So number 10 is not the Belfast, it is the Nuremberg. So the Nuremberg is a fantastic ship. I love the Königsberg, and the Königsberg, believe it or not, makes it in at number 14. However, the Nuremberg makes it in at number 10. Its win rate is 55.79%. Now, for those people that love a high win rate, just bear in mind that I don't division up very often. I am now playing a bit more often with friends online, you know, who we play in a team, but there's no chat involved. So pretty much it's this is your solo player win rate. So Nuremberg, which I don't play very much anymore, but it is a great ship. Beautiful AP, agile, agile and fragile is probably the best way of describing it. Better than the Königsberg because it has the hydroacoustic search. Number 9. We don't have to go too far for number 9, and it has been improving dramatically recently. Its win rate would be much higher, except it took a long time for me to get used to it. It is the Admiral Hipper, and it has a win rate over 165 battles of 56.36%. The Admiral Hipper is a great ship. It hits hard. It takes a lot of punishment. It's not agile like the Nuremberg. So the York is a real shock after the Nuremberg, and the York is right at the bottom of all of these lists. But in learning how to use the York and grind my way through it, by the time I got to the Hipper, I sold the York in disgust, and now I know how to play the Hipper. I reckon I could play the York a lot better, although it's got a pretty steep hill to climb if I did buy it back to get out of its current win rate, and its current stats are pretty bad. But the Admiral Hipper, fantastic ship, good hard hitter, really fantastic all-round cruiser with great guns. Number 8 is a gunboat destroyer, the Khedive. I didn't really rate Russian destroyers until a couple of months ago when I got the Podvoitski. The tier 2, 3 and 4 Russian destroyers are just dire. Really, they're pretty bad. They don't suit my style, and when I got to the Podvoitski, I realised that actually they're not too bad, and the Khedive is the follow-on to the Podvoitski, and over 107 battles, it has a win rate of 58.88%. It's a little knife fighter. It gets shot up quite a bit, but it does quite a lot of damage at the same time. Number 7. So I'm going to lose track here, aren't I? Right, number 7. Number 7 is definitely another destroyer gunboat, the Hatsuharu, the Japanese destroyer gunboat. The Minakaze is the original destroyer in the gunboat line, but its guns just, yeah, well, its turrets don't turn very well. The Hatsuharu is a lot better. So it has a win rate over 68 battles of 60.29%. So this is a good combination of good long-range torpedoes and guns that aren't terrible. I mean, I won't say they're great guns. I'll just say that they're not terrible guns. That's pretty much it. As you can see, I've got my equipment pretty standard now for my destroyers and for a lot of my Royal Navy cruisers too, which is gun rotation, some traverse and concealment. Bringing the concealment for this little beauty down to 5.56 kilometres. So when you're spotted, you definitely know. You can pick your engagements. I think that's the other thing that really helps with the concealment. Right, and at number 6. Number 6 is a favourite. The Pensacola. The Pensacola is a fantastic cruiser, hard-hitting guns, reasonably manoeuvrable. I haven't bothered speccing this one entirely for manoeuvrability because it's got enough. I've specced it for AA, although I should probably swap that around because plus 7%, plus 10% small caliber AA versus, which would be, it doesn't have the AA, that explains it. It doesn't have the advanced AA option. Right, anyway, it hasn't got torpedoes, but then again, torpedoes in a cruiser are just sort of opportunity weapons, unless you're hunting destroyers. But it does have hard-hitting guns that are good against battleships, good against destroyers, and it can take a fair bit of a beating. And against the light cruisers, when the American light cruisers like the Dallas came out, it just murders them. Fantastic, love this ship, good win rate, coming in at 61.19%. Now we get into the top 5. Number 5. Number 5 is, we're getting a bit of a theme here, and it's going to carry on. Number 5 is the Podvoitski, the Tier 5 Russian destroyer. This is another knife fighter, spec for speed because it can't get concealment, spec for turning and obviously the gun traverse. The Podvoitski has a win rate over 87 battles of 62%. It's a great little ship, love it. Love getting in close and fighting and taking it to other destroyers. Number 4 is one of my favourite ships, the Leander. This is specced out with concealment and yeah, this is really well specced out. It's concealment with that concealment module, the historical camo, and the supplies for surface detection of 6.45 kilometres, which is the same as some stock destroyers. This is a great ship. 231 battles this is served in for 201 victories and a win rate of 62.81%. It is a fantastic ship. I love it. And it gets me great results. And I get a lot of joy playing it too, especially threading in amongst the torpedoes and shooting up destroyers. It's a great escort ship. Number 3 for win rate. We go out of the British, back into the German, and believe it or not, it is a gunboat destroyer. The Tier 6 German destroyer, the Ernst Kader, which has a win rate of 63.29%. This was a surprise. Not the last surprise we will get, to be honest. This was a big surprise to see this at number 3. I ground through this to get to the Tier 7 destroyer, didn't buy it because it was too expensive, and went on to other things. I thought it was a fairly workmanlike boat, Didn't realise that it was getting the fantastic results, and when I see it in a chart in front of me, there it is at number 3. 63.29% over 79 battles, the Ernst Kader. Number 2. Number 2 is not, it's not a surprise that it's high on the list, it's just a surprise that it's not higher. Number 2 is my other favourite ship apart from the Leander, the Congo. With a win rate over 321 battles, 204 victories, 63.55% win rate. The Congo can do anything. It can slug it out with battleships. It can hunt destroyers even. It is just a fantastic ship. It's fast enough to take caps, retake caps. It's fast enough and agile enough to dodge and spook torpedoes. Or spoof torpedoes is probably the best way of describing it. Loaded with HE, it can take on destroyers. It's got reasonable accuracy, and with that enhanced, with the precise aiming system, it's a fantastic boat. I love this boat, and every now and again, if I get a bit grumpy, I just take my Congo out and go blow some stuff up and feel a lot happier. But it's number 2, because number 1 was a surprise. Completely and utterly a surprise. And I no longer have the boat, because I sold it, because I've moved on to bigger and better things. Number 1 for me is the Pensacola. Not the Pensacola, sorry. I've got the Omaha. Played only 56 battles in it, 140 for a 71.43% win rate. This was the ship that taught me that I really, really, really liked the US Navy cruiser line. And the Pensacola I enjoyed more than the Omaha, and the New Orleans I enjoyed more than the Pensacola, and the Wichita I found just didn't have the gun range. So the mid-tiers are really the cream of the US Navy cruiser line. But still, even the Wichita is a great ship to drive. Love the AA, love the hard-hitting guns, love the fact that they're reasonably agile and can take a pounding. But the Omaha was the one that I discovered that the American cruiser line was actually pretty good. And here it is sitting at the top of my win rate percentages for ships with over 50 battles. Tier 5 and above at 71.43%. That's the video. I hope you found it educational. I was surprised by some of those results. And if you look through your numbers, you may actually be surprised by some of your results as well. Anyway, I'll do a top 5 or a top 10 for destruction ratio and most valuable player ratio. But I'll do those another time. I hope you found that entertaining. If there's any specific things that you want, now that I have all my numbers in front of me, let me know, because I can do a video. I can start to compare, let's say, Japanese lines with German lines, or cruisers with destroyers, or average damage, things like that. So there is quite a bit I can do now with those numbers. So do leave a comment if there's something you'd like to see, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.